Okay, I think we're almost ready. Do we have sound? It looks like sound to go into OBS. That's a good first step. This is kind of big. Let's make that smaller. All right, 1 second. I'm gonna see where my gloves are at. I'll be right back. All right. A little cold here this morning. Fix rugs so that I can scoot up. All right, good morning. Welcome. Thank you to anybody watching. Hope you're all having a good morning. Let's see, where's the browser? There it is. For anybody that might be new, my name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord. I typically work on CircuitPython related stuff during this stream, and I do usually stream weekly at this time. So 10 a.m. Central Time on Saturdays, which I'm a couple of minutes early today, but not by much. But this is basically the time that I stream each week, and I am usually working on something in or around CircuitPython. I tend to wander quite a bit. So from week to week, it'll be different things. Sometimes it is in the CircuitPython core. Most typically, it's in the libraries, the actual Python code that make up the libraries that go in the CircuitPython bundle. But some other times, it will be surrounding infrastructure and things like Circup or the build tools or websites or just various other bits and pieces that make up the whole ecosystem. If you are brand new, first, thanks for sticking through me saying all of that without telling you what's actually going on here. And to tell you that, I'll show you a bunch of these pictures of microcontroller devices over here on the downloads page. So CircuitPython's and the main idea is running on these microcontroller devices and allowing you to write Python code in order to interact with these devices and whatever is connected to them. So these little microcontrollers are effectively a whole computer inside there. It is a tiny computer, but nonetheless, it's got RAM, it's got a CPU, it can do all sorts of number crunching and things, and CircuitPython allows it to actually interpret and execute Python code as well. And then lots of these microcontroller devices have certain pins along the edges or wherever that you can hook up other pieces of electronic circuitry to in order to interact with that microcontroller, whether it's like sensors or inputs like buttons or switches or knobs or anything like that. So CircuitPython is allowing you to write Python code and interact with all those things once you connect them to your microcontroller. That's kind of the 50,000 foot view. Thanks, as always, to Adafruit, which is the company, hardware and software company based out of New York. They are the company who pays to make CircuitPython a reality by funding the development. They're paying a team of folks to work on CircuitPython full time. They're also paying some folks like me who work on the project part time. So thank you to them for that. And if you want to help support the project, one of the easiest ways you can do that is just head over to adafruit.com, which is their website, and purchase hardware from them. They design and manufacture hardware over in the warehouse in New York. They create many of the microcontroller devices, like the ones that can run CircuitPython. They also create all sorts of things that are kind of peripheral that you can hook up and connect to your microcontroller to do various different things with. And they also do resell other brands as well. So Pymaroni is a totally different brand, but it looks like there's some Pymaroni based cables or something like that going on in the shop here today, as well as Microbit, which is another third-party thing. So Microbit robot there on the first page of the shop for me today. So head over there, get yourself some toys. Thank you, as always, for buying stuff from them so that they can continue supporting CircuitPython by paying us, the folks who work on it. If anybody wants the precursor, the preamble, the prequel to what you're about to watch in this stream, you can go back and find the VOD for the deep dive from yesterday. That would be April 19th. And I was working on the same thing. So I did make a little bit of progress after the stream later last night, but we're more or less in kind of the same area where we were. So if you are interested in this and you're watching this stream but didn't catch the deep dive and you want to see more about this particular thing I'm working on now, in this case, you can go back and catch the deep dive and see more about it. Also, let me say thanks to, Tyeth? Thanks to Tyeth, hug report to Tyeth, for sharing some code back here. It occurs to me I'm not actually scrolling the one that you all can see. You all can see that, right, if I scroll that? Yeah, okay. Thanks to Tyeth for posting some code that was an attempt to how to do this. I did try that code. It didn't turn out to be the answer, but I do appreciate the attempt. Appreciate the help. All right. Okay. So I will catch you up to what I did off stream, which is not too much, but I did. It was, let's say, impactful. It wasn't a whole lot of a change of the code, but it was rather impactful because now it does actually work. I can successfully upload a JPEG or a PNG. And the main thing that I changed is where we left off on the stream last night. I had all of this stuff here where we were building the body of the request. We were building that into a triple quote multi-line string. Might even be able to like go back to that. Let's see. I don't think these times are quite right though. Oh, okay. I'm just not looking at it right. I've been looking at the right half. Okay, yeah. So if we go back to like around the end of the deep dive and I get some of this stuff out of the way. What we used to have was this multi-line string with the triple quotes. We were using F strings, so we were substituting in a bunch of variable values for different things like the boundary, the field name, the file name, the file content itself. We tried all kinds of encoding and decoding and all kinds of stuff and never got it working this way. And what it ended up being the thing to make it work was switching to just using no F strings, no formatting, no substitution, just old school plus those strings together to concatenate them and then use byte strings for everything. So I just have data starts out as an empty byte string and then everything that gets concatenated into it is also a byte string. So boundary string we call encode in order to turn that to bytes. New line there, we make that a byte string. Data plus equals, we got some more byte string there. We're adding field name again encode to turn that to bytes. Another byte string, another encode for a byte string, another byte string there, one more for there, and another one there. And then file content itself is also a byte string because we read it from the file IO, which was opened as RB read bytes. How's it going, Bear? You were getting hit by internal formatting code due to implicit byte style, implicit byte to string conversions. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I did not know the terminology for all that, but I was feeling like that was kind of what it was. It's like Python was converting my stuff to make it like visible or legible to the terminal, but the web server obviously wasn't expecting it in that format. That's good to have like a more proper name for it, though. So good morning both to DJ Devin and Bear. Hope you all are having a nice morning. Cheers, coffee cheers over the web. I will get rid of this one. This one didn't end up needing... I did try this ASCII. This was what Tyeth had put in there, which was not something I've seen before. It's kind of interesting. I imagine I'll have a use for this one of these days. This one was taking the bytes... using, what do they call that? Interpolation? No, that's not right. Anyway, it's using the for loop, Pythonic loopy deal to like declare that into a list, and it's modifying each one of the things it's looping over by passing it to char, or char, or chr, or whatever you like to call that. I like to call it char, as you heard the first time. And then join, so like that's giving us a list of characters, and then join will take that list, take that iterable, join it by this string, which happens to be empty, so it'll just smash everything together. So this would get us from the byte representation to the ASCII representation, but it turned out we didn't actually need the ASCII representation. We needed the everything is byte strings representation. I don't know a more proper name for that, but we needed to get everything into bytes and not do any kind of regular strings or ASCII strings or UTF or whatever a regular string is. I don't really know, but byte strings. I did learn while I was working on this, which is kind of crazy. There's a thing called a U string, I guess, like Unicode string. I did not know this exists. U string, like U, this thing? What is that about? I didn't know that existed. That also did not solve our problem, but I found it while I was reading into this last night. All right, so yeah, let me get everything running here because I don't actually have the server running anymore. Let's do that. Upload server right there. You can run that. I'll delete these files just to show this is actually working. We'll delete Raspberry Snip. That's the one I was using most recently. I'll delete that. I do have the device plugged in, so let's get a TO. I can just go up. And import CircuitPy upload. I'll turn off the print after this one. You can see it does still print a bunch of stuff, but we have single slashes. So what got printed here was actually still, you know, that string representation, that Python, you know, human readable. It's not exactly really human readable, but it's at least printable by the terminal. That's what we see get printed here, but on the server side, we did get success, and if we go and look at the actual file, which I just deleted a second ago, now we have a new one, which just got uploaded successfully. It's an actual image, it's the right size. It works in the picture viewer and all that stuff. You need to create byte string buffers so that the lower level stream code would send it without any conversion. I gotcha. I think that's what I have done. With this stuff, although if there's a better way, it would be nice to have, like, I don't know if string builder is a thing. That's a Java thing. I don't know if Python has a similar, like, byte string builder. If that's a thing that exists, it would be nice. Not to necessarily have to do all these pluses, but I ended up with this and it did end up working. Unicode string U is different, allows groks, multibytes. Vastly different than a byte string. Web servers, contrary to assumed knowledge, do not handle Unicode natively. Interesting. Yeah, I have no real knowledge of what web servers. I mean, that's not entirely true, I guess. I know some things that they do handle and some things that they don't handle, but not necessarily like encodings per se. I have only my experiences with web servers and which things have broken them and which things haven't. One other thing that breaks them a lot is Microsoft hyphens, I like to call them. You just use Outlook and you email somebody and you put a hyphen in your email, it will replace it with an M dash or something that's longer than a regular hyphen. And certain web servers or database systems are not set up to handle that weird thing, and then it breaks. Then I spend a bunch of time trying to figure out why it's broken. Unfortunate, all this has to be done in bytes. No way I would have figured that out. Hopefully when it comes time to the next sample, it'll be piped in easier. Yeah, so I mean, the good news is, like, this is super low level, right? This is inside of requests. So from the user code, you don't have to care about any of this at all, right? You just say, you know, open your file, put that open file, it's a file IO, we saw yesterday, a file IO object. I like to call it a file handle. You stick that thing on a dictionary, you pass that dictionary into request.post, and you're done. So the good news is, like, once this is inside of requests, the user code, so like the example code or the project code, does not care about all that low level stuff at all. You just open your file, pass it as a dictionary, you're done. You don't have to worry about bytes or any of that stuff. Remember the smart quotes. Oh yeah, that's another one where it does the, you just use double quotes, but you get like beginning quotes and ending quotes as if there was a need for that. Yeah, that's another annoying one. All right, what do we want to do next? One thing I want to do next is I want to explore a different way to pass in the name. So the crux of this, for anybody that didn't catch yesterday, the crux of this is that on CPython, on a PC, if you open a file, you get a name property. If open that file, and then f.name knows what the name of that file was. Should close it, I guess. It's probably gonna, I don't know if that's actually gonna write anything into it or not. But on CircuitPython, that's not the case. It probably would be up here if it created it. .save? I don't know why there would be a .save. That's something else, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't look like it created it. I don't know where this would be, though. Syspath extend? I don't know. Where's PWD? Okay, yeah. I looked there and it's not there, so I don't think it created it. But we don't have that name property on CircuitPython, which means we need to find another way to get the name into the requests library in the API. Yesterday, when I was writing it, I settled on this, just passing, like, this would be the key for one file, and then you would be, like, assumed to have the same key with a dash name, and that would be the name of the file. But the downside of that is if you run this exact same code through CPython requests rather than CircuitPython, it actually treats this like kind of as another file, but also not like a file and more like a string, which is not the intention and is not the way that the CircuitPython one would behave if we code it this way. You guys said there might be a break. Oh, this might break due to weird quote use. When you start using multiple quotes, immediately learn about escape characters. Pretty much no matter the language. Yeah. Yeah, quotes are, quotes will get you. Can you pass unexpected parameters, or does that crash? Does that raise an exception if you pass a parameter that doesn't exist? I feel like I've seen an error like that, but I mean, Python's pretty forgiving, right? Non-existent. Hard equals just none, I guess. Unexpected argument. So I was thinking, like, if we were allowed to do that, I would just make another argument like files names, and then we could pass another dictionary that has the same keys but different values that represent the file names. But it doesn't actually work. I guess the dictionary is going to be the way to go. I'm tempted to, like, make a second layer of it, like, it's still diverging the API, though. Like, maybe we could have files is this, and then file names is this. But that's not going to work, because if we pass that to CPython, it's not going to know to dig inside of files to find what it's looking for, which is actually this dictionary here. Yeah, I'm fine with ignoring Pilot. Like, if that was a way to make it work, and the only thing stopping it was Pilot being mad about it, I'd be fine with that. Put the Pilot ignore in, and I mean, you know, I don't know if somebody wants to not have the functionality on account of that. That's cool. We could try to find another way, but this time, left to my own devices, I'd just be like, okay, we can ignore that because it's like clearly giving us some functionality that we don't otherwise have. But in this case, it's actually the language itself. So, God, yeah, I really do not have any better. I don't like any of the ideas I have for how to pass this in. Don't like any of the ideas I have. Or like we could, you could make this a dictionary, like file is a dictionary and it's got the file handle and the file name, but then it's still back to the same problem as this one, which is that the CPython version of request won't know how to unpack that dictionary. The CPython version of requests, it can unpack this one. It does it in a way that is not entirely what we intend, because it adds this as an extra like form field, basically, which we not really intending. But it's like the only thing I can think of that's like even kind of compatible between the two. It's got different behavior between the two, but it at least also does the happy path in both. Optional list? Not sure what you mean. Doesn't request take a tuple for the files. It takes a dictionary or a tuple. And I have not done the tuple version implementation at all. I have only done the dictionary version. These all just say quargs. Where did I find that? I found this documented. Well, I did clone this. Was it in here? I was digging around in the real requests recently, last night. Used? How is that not used? The actual request has kind of a long chain here. I had to chase this pretty far. Yeah, I should have started back at the top. Okay, so API has post. Post calls request. Passes through quargs, which would include files. Files is here. I don't know where the docs that come from this are at, but so files is optional, a dictionary of name and then file-like object, or name file tuple or multi-part encoded. File tuple can be a two-tuple with file name, file object. So, wait a minute, though. That's a tuple inside the dictionary? Wait a minute. File. Tuple. File name. No, wait, what was it? Yeah, file name, file object. This work? This works. We could use this API because it would match. Let me delete it first. Also, let's look. Do we need to look at the traffic? We should look at the traffic too. This Raspberry Pi Pico, it says. Delete that. Let's do that again. All right. All right. Yeah, let's do that. Nice. Thank you. People for the dictionary value. Yeah, Quarget. Well, I mean, it just stands for keyword argument, but it's tough to like find the place where all the expected ones are actually listed sometimes. Okay, yeah, so we totally can do that. We totally can do that, and that specific, version of the API will match. Because with request, it's like optional, right? It can be a bunch of different ways, like we saw. So none of them really will be supported except for this one. I mean, we could maybe do content type if we want. Could maybe do custom headers if we want. But we won't be supporting this one. Unless we can get fileio.name, which I'm going to, I think, open an issue as well to inquire about how much work it would be to get fileio.name implemented. And if it's not a mountain of work, and if anyone could point me in the right direction, I'd be willing to give it a try. So that would be nice to have that matching as well, and it would also solve this problem. But this is perfect. Thank you for that. Use it exactly for this reason, to pass a list of items, or to send as multi-part upload. We know the name worked because that saved it as the correct name. We know the file worked because the file actually showed up. It's correct, so it's all good. Okay, so we need to go into here. File content is going to be let's see, files name key. So the name is going to be done totally differently now as well. File content will be files field name, and then we know it's going to be a tuple, and we know it's going to be index 1. We know that index 0 will be the file name. Somewhere I have this typed wrong, so my IDE is going to tell me that. Yeah, it's going to tell me that that's wrong, but. Original dict. This actually needs to be a tuple now. Technically, we could say tuple of string file IO. And I'm not going to take it that far right this second, because as we can see, it'll just, if I change the API more, it'll just come wrong and warn me. It's still not updating. I think it's just going to take a minute, I guess. We'll see. So one read. We don't really need the name key anymore. And the way that we're going to get the name is just by going files field name 0. We will still encode it. See if that works. Actually, sorry, I missed last live stream. I think the PyPortal library has a lot of image fetch. I deep in the library. No, I mean, I don't think that, I mean, it depends on what you're talking about, but I don't necessarily go along with that it should be in requests. I think requests should stick to a subset of CPython requests. So anything that CPython requests cannot do, I don't think that CircuitPython requests should do unless it's like absolutely critical, right? Like the way it interacts with connection manager, CPython requests, like that's not a possible thing it could do. So there will be some divergence, but as far as features, quality of life type stuff like downloading and ease of stuff like that, those kinds of things I think are better if they are outside of requests, unless they also exist in the real CPython one. Only things that exist in there I think make sense. That being said, there could be room for like a different library that's not PyPortal, that is some like web helper library that includes some higher level download functions or something that are helpers for that stuff. There's definitely room for something above requests and not specific to PyPortals or any other device where those helper functions could live and be useful, I think, on a wider scale. Didn't we change it to not be a file IO? Have I been changing the wrong code file? Been changing the wrong code file. There we go. I mean, it's not the wrong code file. I guess I needed to change both, and I only changed one. Reps request just means more examples to show how I can do the things without the overhead. Yeah, examples definitely always be good. I mean, like I said, I think there is definitely room for a helper library that could be super useful as well. I don't think that that's out of the question. I just don't necessarily think that it's in requests is where that stuff belongs. But examples would go a long way too. Yeah, I don't think there is an example for like downloading a file, for instance. Is that true? I mean, I know PyPortal can do some downloading to the SD card. Hello, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty good, thanks, friend, over there on Twitch. Please don't try to sell me viewers. Yeah, simple test, advanced. I mean, like, technically, these are downloading, right? Like, they're getting some data from the internet, but they're not, like, downloading a file and then having a file on the local file system. It looks like none of those do. So that's definitely room for an example there. It's tricky with CircuitPython because it's usually read-only, so, like, you need the SD card. But, like, it being tricky is not a reason to not have an example. That's, like, a reason to have an example, because that means people have a place to go and find the thing that's tricky. So I'm with you there. Examples would be good, too. All right, that seems to have succeeded. Let's check into the uploads. SB snip right there. Boom. Okay. That is awesome. Yes. Thank you for that. I totally misunderstood. When I read that yesterday, and I totally thought that that was talking about files would be a tuple like this. And then I guess would have tuples inside of it or something. I don't know. For some reason yesterday when I read that, I did not think it was going to be working for us. But no, it actually is. That's totally pretty much exactly what I was looking for. File upload. I mean, file upload and file download are two different things too. So, I mean, like this one here is upload, not download. So I think an example for both would be nice. Like two different examples, one for each would be nice. And I will make an upload one once this exists in the library. Which we're getting pretty darn close to. One thing I do still want to know, though, like, how do we handle the multi-parts of the multi-part form? So, like, in HTML... Oh, where are the quotes in this? What on earth is happening here? I don't want to do this, but I can't just leave this. I didn't even know that was valid. Is that valid, or do browsers just accept it? Gosh, browsers are so forgiving. Maybe it's valid because I have no spaces? Boy, that's like playing with fire. I can't even Cannot even let that slide. Okay, here we go. Name other. Let's just call this other. Okay, so on a server, on a form, hey, where's our other thing? I'm gonna restart. It's not doing index? Did I do this wrong? Input? Missing associated label? All of them are missing labels. Why does only one of them have an error? Am I crazy? There should be another input now, right? Oh, it's right there. It's right there. I'm being silly. Okay. Let's put a placeholder. Placeholder. Other. That's why you should always put label on it. There we go. Okay. Okay, so if we fill this out, how does it come through? And then what's the CPython requests equivalent of that? Why are there random PyCharm cookies in my thing here? This stuff's weird. I don't know what's up with this. I'm not even in PyCharm. I'm on like a local host. It's not... That's weird. Anyway. Quit being creepy, PyCharm. Come on. Whoa, what happened here? Why is that so long? Interesting. So it occurs to me that I just hit the chat with all this stuff. Let's see here. Let me see. That's what today's stream is all about. Yeah, today's about upload, for sure. I'm excited for upload. Not sure of a use other than local server tests. So this would be like uploading an image to like Imgur or something like that would be the use of this, or as a practical use. In some of like the original reason I wrote the code that this came from was to upload a log file to a server. Like I have another project for work, for my day job work, that was running on CircuitPython, and I was creating a log file, writing a bunch of stuff into it, and then I want the server to be able to say, hey, please upload your log file right now. This was the code that actually uploaded it. All right, so we get, this part's all the same. This is all what we saw yesterday. It is doing a content type, which I didn't mess with yet. It seems like it doesn't matter. Okay. Okay. And is that's visible in the server as... I mean, does it come through as a file? Or does it come through as a... like a post argument or something? How do you get post arguments inside Flask? Request.data. Incoming request data as a string. That's not what I want. Args? No, that's not what we want. Form? That sounds promising. Let's try form. And if not that, then we'll print files to get a look at if there's multiples in there. Okay. Cool. Okay. So now CPython. So in CPython, if I add, would I add it as a file or would I also pass a data? Request plus post, request plus request Python. Why can't I close that? Python requests plus set form value, form data. They're just putting it into files. But they do just put arbitrary ones. So but do we need the tuple? It's not actually running anymore. Restart this so we can get a stream. Request.files.get list file. Testing if a post has files. Interesting. In this case, I'm okay with not testing it because I'm not really. I only really made the server to test the client. I'm really working on the client. So if the server doesn't have fully robust error handling, I'm okay with it right now. Okay. It looks like that could have worked. Let's get our... We didn't get the value that way, though. Why is that different? This one didn't get a file name. And this one did. Often use request bin for this type of testing. I'm not familiar with it. Is that a website or a library or something? File name none. Can we do none? That's maybe promising, actually, because that would make it think it didn't have a file name. Sounds like what we want, right? Yes. Nice. Server analog to postman. Interesting. Okay, so you can send it your requests and it kind of lets you see everything about what you sent it. Request bin. Does sound like a pretty nifty tool. Is that it? Pipe Dream, or is that a different thing? Looks like that's probably it. Oh, I don't know. There's actually this too. That's kind of weird. This one's maybe the shady one because it's actually a different domain. Nice. I'll have to check that out. All right. So then in CircuitPython, we would say other value none. Then hello world classic. And we will definitely need to change the code in here. So I think we go if files field name 0 is not none, then we do all of this. Else it is none. We're going to want something similar. We're probably ready to close that finally. Okay, so we're going to be doing what? Boundary, that's the same. Content disposition form data, that's the same. Name, that's the same. File name right here, that's gone. Get that out of here. So we would just be doing form data name. Yeah, form data name. There was not a, is there a semicolon? Yeah. Semicolon, new line, empty line. we don't have file content. Instead, it will be that second index, well, the one index inside of the tuple. Files, field name. Put the data there. That's raw data. This is, doesn't like this. Let's see. I think probably is the quote. The quote's probably messed up here. That would have been the quote that was from this, I think. Which we don't have anymore, so we're going to get rid of. They got bought. Used to be open source, lots of private label versions. I gotcha. Is that just the header length? It says the content length is the same. Two. 2618. I mean, I think content length is supposed to be the whole request. So it should include the file in these ones, I'm pretty sure. That's weird that just the form, this one was the one that just came from the form by itself. It's weird that it uses that boundary with so many hyphens. Hi from Costa Rica, got late to the stream yesterday, glad to be able to catch today. How's it going, Fede2? Nice to see you, my friend. I was only talking about the content length at the bottom. Oh, the one at the bottom would be for the response. Yeah, that one will be for the response, which is very small because it's just that little bit of JSON there. And it should be, I guess it won't be the same every time, but in my case it will be because I'm using the same file name every time, which means that the response will actually be the same too. Okay, name, double quote. Okay, how about this? We don't even really, we could just say, we just do that instead. And yeah, something is still, it's still not finding the right types there, but right for right now. I guess, I think it's like maybe doc strings versus, oh yeah, here you go, is another place. It would be tuple here. Doc strings versus inline type annotations in the arguments. Where'd my stuff go? There it is. Okay. All right. I do have to run to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. Let's see if that one works. No. Well, yeah, I change it. Oops. Wait. Oh, we need to encode it because it'll be a regular string, not a byte string. Yeah, there we go. I don't think this is actually running. No, I stopped it. Huh. Maybe we have an extra empty new line? I don't see an extra empty new line in any of these, though. Stop. Oh, I can't. Right. Okay. None of those. None of those were from the microcontroller, actually, because I've been on loopback. And the only way for me to see the traffic for the microcontroller actually is to choose this instead. Yeah, okay, so hello world definitely. I mean, interestingly, in this case, the other value is on the top. I guess it's because we have a dictionary, which is inherently unordered. Yeah, we also do have an extra new line, whoops, at the end of that. Because all those other ones, it was just into the file, and then the next line is the boundary. So we actually only need one of these. And we should probably only need one of these up here as well. And I guess that if you have a PNG file and you put an extra /r/n at the end of it, it still works? Seemingly? Sorry. You have something to deal with on Discord. This is a problem for Discord, I believe. Sorry, I know this is not what we're really here for, but unfortunately we need to take care of something. That's good to know. View channel. Last member to view the channel? silent. Okay. That's gonna chill for a minute. I'll check in a minute. Thanks for helping look into that, Fede. Alright, where are we at? I took out that. I sent that. We no longer have the extra new line there. Awesome. Okay, yeah, so we're being able to get those values now. So, like, I mean, this is the core of the functionality I wanted. We could, I guess, go back and do... Oops, wrong one. Content type? Should we do that? So when we sent it with requests, it did not specify. We could have. If we put a content, what's the, I don't know, is it image JPEG? Image/JPEG, good guess. Can't actually go back to loopback. There, it's got now content type image JPEG. We might as well support that. Is that true? I mean, it's... Can we do that? Is that gonna be hard to do with the two different... I don't want to necessarily have, like... too many more branches. Like, I don't want another else to handle it. I don't want to have to duplicate all of it. But we could... just say if field name or if length of files field name is at least 3, then, whoops, right here we could insert another line with the content type they passed in. So we need an if statement in here, but not a larger one for this outer branch. But then we do have to duplicate it as well. If the length of that is at least 3, then we will add content type. Then we'll give it whatever they passed. You get a call that is not a tuple, then why not convert it to a tuple request so that your main processing code is only handling the tuple version? I don't necessarily have a reason not to do that. I mean, I would say my intention is not necessarily to comprehensively support all the same stuff. I really just want one way to do it. So I would be happy to just handle this as the one way that it works on CircuitPython, and it also matches one of the ways that it can work on CPython, although there are more on CPython that are not supported in CircuitPython. I'm happy to just really support one, and then if you don't pass your data in that way, it doesn't work. I'm not wholesale opposed to the rest of that functionality existing, but I'm also not necessarily interested in writing it once I get the first one working. But as much behavior like that where it could match, like I'm in favor of all the behavior that can match. I just don't necessarily want to be the one to write it. Or I guess another way to say it would be is I don't really have a direct use for it or anyone asking me to write it. This I wrote originally because I had a direct use for it, and I'm now putting it into requests because I still have the same use for it, and I would rather the code where that's used not be janky like it is now, and instead be like this, which is better. Yeah. Yeah, but I would say, generally speaking, I'm pro pretty much any functionality that is in CPython requests, ultimately making it in. Up to some point, there's probably a balancing act because I think requests is frozen into a couple of builds, so size does start to matter at some point. It may make sense to cut a functionality for size depending on code size and stuff, but like on the surface, I'm relatively pro pretty much any functionality. But I also just want the one way. As long as there's a way, I'm happy. So that looks. Oh, we will need another one of these after it, though. That's for sure. Yeah, we need another one of these because we had that before. So we're going to we want that empty line there. We always had that empty line, and we want to keep it. So then we basically just have the same thing here, which it does feel a bit bad to copy this. I guess we could probably do this without as much code repetition. Let me leave it like that. Like, my gut says it should be possible to probably get rid of this if statement and instead have an if statement for this and an if statement for this, and then we already have this one, although that would work for both. But if we added an if statement for this and an if statement for this, we could get rid of this outer one, which would give us less overall duplicated code. But it's actually not as understandable in my head, honestly. This way makes it easier to understand for me, at least, because of the clear delineation between, like, technically we're checking on has a file name, but really what that's telling us is like, is it a file, an actual file, or is it just a regular value, like a string or whatever? And having those separated, I think, actually does make it a bit easier to understand. But it's it's kind of, I guess, back to the code size too. Maybe it's worth it to shrink. What the last one was, well, I should test this, I guess, right? The last one was custom headers. I don't know that we need that necessarily. I mean, you can always still just pass headers with the request. I guess they're saying custom headers on the must be saying custom headers on that one field. Is PNG just image PNG? Yeah. And I do need to watch, I think we're ready to close these. I do need to watch the traffic though, because the server doesn't actually look at this. So we're going to see it if we don't look. Just want to make sure we're getting the same behavior. We run that. Wireshark is so weird. The filter was empty, and it literally says apply a display filter, which is what it says when it's empty and there's no filter on. But it was not showing me anything. I had to click in that empty box and press enter to get it to actually show anything. That's so weird. It's actually up here though. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Yeah, cool. And that must be snip. Still working fine there, yeah. Okay, cool. Content type. Wireshark UI has quirks from long ago. They're boggling. Yeah, I don't use it. I don't use it that often. I'm definitely not used to them, but that one has caught me a lot in the last couple of days when I've been working on this. Because I keep looking over there and seeing the empty list of stuff and being like, where's all my traffic? Like, I just sent the requests. Because it's filtered. Every time I do that follow stream, it puts a thing in that filter box up there. You have to explicitly erase it and then enter on the empty string after. Let's see what those custom... So custom header, like my assumption of that... Let's not make an assumption. Let's look a little bit. Defining content, custom headers, dictionary-like object containing additional dictionary-like, so custom stuff, awesome value, awums value. It's close enough. We need to switch this back again. I wish I could see the traffic from both sources on the same interface that wasn't just the any interface. And actually, I don't even think it works on the any interface, but maybe I messed up the filter when I tried. Urgh. That's another UI quirk that bothers me. I need to figure out what's doing this WebSocket ping. It's polluting my Wireshark, making it harder for me to find stuff I'm looking for. But also, like, just what's doing that? Why is it pinging? Who is it pinging? Why is it pinging so often? What the heck is my request? Oh, I should be looking for HTTP ones, maybe. Which shows HTTP? Okay, that's easy enough. So that just tacks that on as another line underneath the content type. So more or less, we're going to be doing the same logic as content type, but instead of only passing a string, it will be a key and a value. If length of files field name greater than or equal to 4. Should we check for exactly 4? We don't really support greater than 4. I guess we'll just ignore them. Data plus equals byte string. I guess we actually could start with the name. So we'll say files field name 3, index number 3. That's going to be a dictionary, so we're going to say, we actually need to loop that, don't we? For custom header keys. In starting to wish I saved this to a variable. The keys. Okay, loop over the keys and then data plus equals custom header key, let's call it. Custom header key. Okay, so data plus equals custom header key. We need to encode that. Then we want a plus, and we want colon space. Wait, where's the other one? Colon space value. Byte string, colon space, plus. Wait. This should be the, this is the value, not the name. So that should be over there. And over here, it should just be custom header key encode. And we will need at the end here's return new line. Switch back to the other interface. Erase the filter, enter, run. I should take that print out. I don't really need that anymore. So this one only shows me follow TCP stream, but that other one a minute ago showed me follow HTTP stream, in addition to follow TCP stream. Why did I have two choices on the one that came localhost via CPython requests versus this one that's coming across the network from the microcontroller? I wonder. Does seem like it worked fine. Recipe snip, let's make sure it's not broken. Let me actually delete it, do the upload proper again, make sure. I need to watch the traffic this time. Nice. All right, there we go. Now we do have actually all of the tuple style one. Now it does still support just dictionary, which we don't have anymore. I would say I would be open to adding this one probably at the time that file IO gets name property added in CircuitPython. If that were done, if the file IO property if the file IO object had the name property, then this dictionary form of the argument without the tuples, there's only one tuple, would be easier to support on CircuitPython. And I say easier, really what I mean is possible without having to change the API. Yeah, thank you. I think I will make an issue for that at some point. I dove very, 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 very briefly into the code for it, into the core code for it, but I don't know if I'm even looking in the right spot. So I'd rather get like Scott or Dan or Jeff's opinion on how much work they think that would be, and then ideally, hopefully, a point in the right direction of where to start trying to change it. Let's get rid of all of these prints. One thing I did not test is what happens if you pass data and files. And I actually do not know the answer to that on CPython or CircuitPython. But I would not call it a happy path necessarily. I don't know if it's so bad as the old, you must be holding it wrong, but it's not necessarily the way I would recommend to do it, at least. All right, let's save that. Let me get this back into the repo as well so that the only copy of it is not on my device randomly. That's not true, actually, because PyCharm has saved a bunch of local history copies, but nonetheless, let's get it into the repo. Let's get it pre-committed a little bit. Nice upgrade to how upload is done. I think I'll revisit a library that I did for downloading from iNaturalist, which is currently able to download images, but not the upload part. Would be really cool for the Memento. Yeah, camera, I do agree. I do agree for the Memento. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, there you go. Does anybody know, does Adafruit.io have any kind of upload? So I know, the only thing I know for sure that deals with images in Adafruit.io, you can post it a URL to an image, and it will download that image and convert it to a bitmap at a specific size, and then you can download that bitmap. But that doesn't actually take the upload of the picture. Does anyone know if there's any actual file upload posting? It's not really looking like it. Get all permissions. That sounds a little dangerous. No. Tokens, services, errors, feeds, data. I'm not seeing anything like that. I don't even remember where I found that picture thing. One of the libraries does it, actually. You know what? It's, or not a library, the project. Cleveland Art Project uses that image. Oh, right. They do. Yeah. Okay, so they can take uploads of images, but they actually take base 64, which you could do with bin ASCII before, which is nice. That means it works technically before we even did any of this work. The Adafruit IO. But theoretically, they could actually change, if they wanted, they could actually change Adafruit IO to accept file uploads if they wanted. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Closest thing is the base 64. That's not quite the same. You could have done that before with bin ASCII. Okay. One thing I need to try to find is a server that allows you to upload files to it to put in the example. I'm not sure. I don't necessarily think that it makes the most sense for the example to just be pointed at localhost like mine is. Well, it's not technically a localhost because it's on a different thing, but the example that goes in the repo, I don't think should rely on the Flask server that I wrote. You want to try to find a public file upload thing. Maybe Imgur? Do you need an account for that? I don't know. Anyway, that's something to look into at some point. Maybe that request bin thing. Does that request bin, if I upload it something, will it like accept that and kind of like be cool with it? It doesn't have to do anything with the thing that I upload necessarily. Wow, there's a lot of stuff here. Generate events? Gotta sign up for that one too, though. I mean, there's always like gist and pastebin, but those are, I think those just take text data. We could look into pastebin. Maybe pastebin has one that can take a file data. It would still be text MIME type probably though, so it's like, I don't know. Yeah. All right. 11:30. My ADD has taken me in a giant circle. I never did actually push this in the API. Let's do this in the API, in the repo. Oh yeah, I have this. Ada. I'm trying to get into the habit of using this. I made a script, I guess, Ada branch script that does like git checkout -b new branch name from Adafruit main no track. Does all of that with one script, which is nice. So we can just give it the name, which will be request. No, we don't need request. We're in request. We'll just say files arg. That will give us to the new branch. I'll run pre-commit, I guess. I don't think I'm going to fix everything right now. We'll see how bad it is, though. Could be worse. It could be worse. Not too bad, but I do think I'm not gonna go fix them right now. Unused? Oh, because I took it out of the type annotation. Yeah, that makes sense. Which technically we would probably put it back in the tuple or whatever. It's a work in progress branch pre-commit. Yeah, no, I mean, I was curious more than anything. Curious at the volume, like we got about a half a dozen here, it looks like. So I was curious, are we in the half a dozen ballpark or are we in the like 20 ballpark or something crazy? Glad that we're not in the larger ballpark. I will commit this for now. I wonder if there's a way I can get that to like default to me somehow. You know, at this point, I'm in the habit of changing it, so it doesn't matter, but. All right. Okay. I think that I would like to try something different next. I don't know how successful we're going to be. Might not be very successful at all. I'm kind of curious to give it a try. So I started messing with Docker a couple of weeks ago for something different. And I got to thinking about if we could build CircuitPython inside of a Docker container. Not so much if we could, because I'm pretty sure we could. It's like just a Linux box or whatever. We definitely can, but how hard would it be, and how do we actually have to do it? That would probably be easier to figure out and do for someone who has more experience with Docker than I. But I figured maybe I can learn a little bit about it by trying, even if I'm not successful. I will say, fair warning, if anyone watching does actually know and use Docker regularly, you might want to turn away. It's very likely I will do some horrendous things. Don't actually know what I'm doing. You have been warned. Yeah, I agree. Being able to run a full like actions check, or even some portion of the actions check locally, would be pretty sweet, I think. Okay, and I don't even remember. I totally like followed hold my hand step-by-step tutorial when I did this before, and I did not commit any of that to memory, so I'm gonna have to find another hold my hand type tutorial here. So all of the ones I did were actually based on Postgre, which we don't want that for building CircuitPython. We want Linux. Probably, I mean, my local is Ubuntu. So I guess we could try to match my local, since my local can successfully build, although it was broken for a little bit. And I think that's the same version as me as well. Check version Ubuntu. Right, else be release A. Of course, everybody knows that. .2204. Okay. I think we want to start with that. Thank you. Let me reference where I did this before, but unfortunately can't really share very much of it. All right. So, yeah, I didn't really do that much in this old one. I set a couple of environment variables. I copied a couple of files into the container. We don't actually really need that. if anything, we need to start running commands because we need to start installing things, and ultimately we're going to want to check out the CircuitPython repo. Other two lines pretty much obligated so that the container size doesn't grow too much. I don't know much about Docker, but I just passed through this road a couple weeks ago. I built a Mariner Azure Linux distro for RISC-V 64 on my new compile box. The other two lines is pretty much these things here. It's tweaks discussed in this post. My suggestion is build for one platform first. Oh, yeah, no, I mean, I'd definitely be targeting like one first, probably Raspberry Pi maybe. Either Raspberry Pi or Atmel will be our first ones, and then maybe Espressif after that. Espressif, I think, is a level up because you need the IDF. What is that about? That's looking a little shady to me. I don't really know what's stored in here, but... I see. I almost... Well... Should we start with those or without those? I don't really care about the size right now. I don't know. Maybe it's better to start with empty, though. Size is very important in Docker as it will translate to the speed of things in the image. I mean, I think that that's true. I definitely believe that, and one of my frustrations in the past with Docker was about how slow it was, but I think, like, I am currently in the stage of if I can make it work, I will be happy. So I'm not necessarily... If I make it work and it's huge and it's slow, I'm still happy at this point, because not necessarily even confident that I'll be able to make it work. Once I get it working, then I'd be more, probably, I don't know the right word, but more kind of interested in figuring out ways to make it smaller and faster. We will basically just need all of these. It's too bad I was about to say it's too bad I can't install all of these in one command, but I can, right? You could just install all of these in one command, couldn't we? Reason why we couldn't do that. We should probably run an apt update, though, huh? We should probably give it the old apt update, I think. Do we need a sudo on this, or is that going to be sudo automatically? Let's try this with just Python and see where we end up. Let's do an update. Let's assume it's going to be sudo, so let's say run apt, give it the git. I don't know, I don't usually type the git, but update, let's give it the update, and then let's give it the install Python. Let's try that. Nice and easy, nothing really going on. How do I build? I forgot how to build. Docker build something. Docker build. Then I guess, is it giving it a name, or? Doesn't really say my Ubuntu in here, so I don't think it's pointing to anything. Okay, so we can... I'm gonna delete that. I don't know if that's gonna interrupt it or not, but I'll get rid of it. Docker. Oops. Build dot dash t cpy builder. v0. I think it does its own versions, but I'll stick a v0 on there just for the fun of it. Python 3 slimworm, that's what I recommend. Should I need to run apt update? You can go without apt update. Should start from the Python base image. I could try that. How do you find the name of them? Well, I guess you just gave me the name of it. How did you find that, though? Is there a list of those? Is there a catalog or something? Hub. Hub is what they call it, that's right. Oh, right, there's no copy. No copy link. Discord? But it's still, okay, but it's like Bookworm, which is Debian or whatever, okay. So that's just like Debian with Python installed already, I guess? Okay. In that case, we would we still need these or no? I mean, it's slim Bookworm, so I assume it doesn't really have as much of this kind of stuff. Which gets us all the way back to there. Let me check on this one. I am curious about this. So, Docker, yeah. So then that gives us an image. Just here. I think anything in here is like really private, is it? I don't think so. I mean, kind of, I guess, the name, but we'll live with that, I suppose. Musing Boar? What is that? New version. Should get the new version, I guess. Is it running right now? Is there no logs? That's weird. Wait, I am. Oh, are we not? Exited? We're exited. I guess it probably failed. Probably failed. Why did it get that name? That's kind of a weird name. It just goes straight to exited. How do you troubleshoot that? Oh, wait, no, those are like layers? Hmm. Only to point out is using a base image. Stick to Ubuntu, it's closer to what GitHub already has. Fix random words for the names, I gotcha. Should have defined before was a tag. Oh, the -t was a tag for the image? Okay. How can I find the, how can I find the logs for it failing to start? You would think logs, right? I don't even barely have anything in there at this point. Is it mad if I move the file? Will it break if I move the file? No. I run Podman. I've learned a little tiny bit about Podman. I've heard that's like an alternative to Docker Desktop. Should probably check that out. Docker run container from terminal. I do think that's how I did it before, I guess, which is how I got a name, maybe. Docker container run. Options. Docker run. I don't know the exact command I used, though. I do know the exact command I ran. Well, I don't know it, but it turns out I know where to find it. Docker run this did -d. So, but my name is totally different. Run the Docker container from an image. I guess that's choosing the name. Oh, that's choosing the name. Okay, name, CPY build, v0. I'm gonna stick container just so it's clear what it is. I'm not gonna mess with ports. This one I did over here was for a database, so it had ports, but we don't need that. And the image name is also CPY builder v0. Okay. Docker run. That just gave us like a hashy thing there. I don't know what's up with that. That also exited. Has no log. I mean, maybe it's not exiting. I mean, it's exiting. Maybe it's like just finishing, right? Do I need like a wait? Is there like a while true or something that makes it stay running? Podman is much better UI. I'll get on Podman. Docker it. Docker run it. Mariner bash. I've seen like that before as well. Docker run bash it. What does the what does the it do? Can I just do like if I do this, can I do that bash thing after that? No. Oh, can't reuse that name. Okay, I gotta run to the restroom again. I'll be back in a minute. IT is for interactive. Oh wait, we are echoing, but that's echoing to a file. Okay. Let's echo. Build that. Run. What's the -d? Huh. Oh, -d was. And then I can't do that because it's got the same name. I'm just gonna delete the old one. No, that's probably not the correct thing to do, but there we go. Now it stays running. Yeah, I think we just were finishing. I don't think it was that it didn't work. I think it was that it just worked and finished instantly. It is weird though. I'm surprised we still don't see any logs. We do have this now though. And Python did get installed, so this must have worked. I'm not sure where this came out to. I really would have expected here. Was working. Start Stalker in daemon mode. I use IT on the run. Docker images to list the name of the container that was created during the build. It's working fine from the CLI, the build I mean, so it's just building, so it is building properly. It should be the same as -it, docker logs -f container name. Is that different than what it's showing in this window? I guess y'all were saying Docker desktop is kind of janky though, so maybe it's just docker logs -f container name is cpy container, and then -f I assume is follow, but it's not really going to print anything right now because it's already done. Will it stay hooked up if I relaunch it? If I like stopsies, startsies here? Nope. Let's see. How can if I do it now, can I? No. Okay. I don't know how to hit the timing. I mean, I assume it's not going to be there. Well, -f, I guess it would show me if it printed a few lines. Yeah, I guess it would show me. Okay, I'll try to go as quick as I can. We'll go start, we'll go bam, bam. It seems like we're at a terminal, though. Are we at a terminal? No. I mean, kinda, but not a terminal that works. I can't remember if I was getting logs, if I was seeing stuff get printed here or not before. I thought I was, but can't really be certain either. Not going to show much. Is there a way to see like the results of this command or the output of this command or anything? I thought I was seeing that before, but maybe I'm thinking of something else. Tried a couple of different ones. Some of them I was logging into differently. Anyway, we got Python. Let's leave that for now. We could I guess we could no users. What if we go does this append to the file or does it overwrite the file? You can use console log query search logs, filter for the results in various ways, create reports. You can also find the logs for the internal components, including Docker at home desktop logs. Appends, okay. Thank you. Touch, so we could do something like, so we don't need that. Let's say, then we could say run echo. Installing Python. I almost want to go like, is it EMV? But is that the Docker environment or the Linux environment? We'll probably go the Linux environment, right? What? Oh, hey. Wait, these are just the instructions, though. Error run. Unable to locate package. What? You don't touch the file, will it create it? Using, okay, nice. Update is needed so that it gets the apt repo listing on the Ubuntu server. Depends. Okay, install Python 3 did not complete successfully. Oh, because yeah, I'm with you now. You're telling me the solution to my problem. I'm understanding what you're saying, but not putting two and two together. I do need this. I see. So then when you build the image, it's actually running that stuff right then? Interesting. The image is like, it like spawned the container, ran all the stuff, and then serialized it. Kinda, basically. So there we get no logs, but now if we go in here, we're gonna tab completion, but those all show up there now, so that's cool. So we can echo anything we want into the log file, and we can read the log file later. Every run generates a new layer to the installed base image. If I'm honest with you, I have no idea what that means. You have to use sudo apt-get for installing Python. Yeah, you don't, because it's like automatically running as root, which feels terribly super duper wrong, but it's how it works by default. All right, we might as well not do hello world. Let's say installing other stuff. So one question is, do we want to like, well, these ones can't be in the same line. You don't have add apt. Try running make. Make not found. Installing build essentials. If you don't have add apt repository, then do this. I don't know what that means. I guess that means like as a command. Not allowed to paste into here. Or tab complete. All right, we'll try with these two and let it run again, and then see where we get. You want more layers? It's not a problem to run apt get on multiple lines, but as Bear pointing out, if you want more layers, I don't know what are the layer. Oh wait, let me read this. Think of Docker layers as being analogous to git commit. I gotcha. Analogous to git commit. So you like roll back to any one of those states basically. But I can do multiples. I can do multiple things inside of one run. Is that right? Let's do apt get. Oh, and right. So you can do just not necessarily multiple things because it's like special, but just because Linux theoretically like ampersand there. Do you need new line? That one. It's not a new line, but whatever. Then do these. Ampersand's broke me on that one. Do those need to be no space? Ooh, that's turning the slash orange. Doesn't actually seem like a good sign necessarily, but let's see. Same problem basically. Whoops. Can't mix ampersands and pipey thingy doohickeys. I'll just do multiple runs for now. I'd rather not necessarily mix and match them, especially because every time I want to print out to the log, I have to use those pipey things right now. I'm sure there is probably a better way to do this that would make it even potentially come to the place that says log in the UI, but you don't know how to do that. Whoops. How do you can delete a container from the command line, right? Maybe I shouldn't be naming it, but I'd rather it not have those weird random names. Those names are not very helpful. I wish the default name would just be like container name and then like or rather image name and then like the word container on the end or something. Instead of those random ones. Docker container rm container. Okay, so we should be able to say, I don't know, do we need to stop it first? Let's find out. Docker container RM and then CPY. Does not tab complete. Container RM options container. Okay. The name we had was CPY build v0. No such container. Build v0 container. Can't remove containers running stop container. How do you stop? Can I just stop? Yes. AB. Okay, yes. Somehow I can connect to this in the terminal too. I've done that before, but I don't know. I don't remember how. Let's see. Cat var log. I wish I could tab complete. Nice. So make should work, right? Yep. And the other one was like add repository, whatever, should work too, but yep. Okay, couple more. Repository git, repository pybricks. Probably gonna wrap up here before too long. Yeah, we haven't really got to the fun stuff, but oh, there we go. Let's let this one run. So we go stop, and then RM, and then run. Stopping kind of takes a while, so maybe I'll try the trash can. Was the trash can quicker? Not sure why they're suggesting Git. I believe that it's because if you don't do the PPA, you get an older version of Git, and something about the things it can do with submodules is different. I don't have the specifics. Dan H, I think, might be able to explain more what is actually going on. Dan was the one that recommended me to use the PPA for Git when I was having some problems with submodules, because it turned out the version of Git that's in Ubuntu apt by default is a couple of versions behind, but if you do this PPA thing, then you can get much closer to the actual current release. But I believe it's like not necessary, but somehow helps with the submodules. All right, let's make sure that we did git. That's files. Git. What? Yeah, it does. All right, let's put these, I guess. Git. Let's say adding git PPA. Adding pybricks. let's do stop. For me is unfamiliar. If I build an image, it does keep on running. You can see all the echoes on the console and the container. It keeps running, being weird. Not sure. You rebuild the image there. Not sure why they are suggesting. Okay. There we go. Okay, so maybe, yeah, maybe I didn't rebuild last time. Stop. So we did stop rm. Run. Huh. Did I not save the file? No, the file's saved. I wait for enter. Oh, add apt. Is there a -y for that as well, maybe? Wait. -yes, assume yes, all queries. Options. To go before or after the thing? Line, I guess? Goes before, okay. Yeah, I bet that's right. What? I'm pretty much out of ideas then at this point. You're doing run, not build. Thank you. So stop, remove, build, run. I need 4 commands. Is there I wonder if there's something I could pass to run that would make it both stop and remove the existing instance. Now I have to go way back also because I haven't run build in forever. Yeah, thank you, by the way. I guess it doesn't like that -y. That is kind of weird though, because it seemed like there was a -y. My terminal is broken. Can't type in here anymore. This has happened to me before. I think that's a PyCharm problem. It's kind of annoying though. Oh, it's really annoying because I also can't go up anymore. Is it this? Oh, okay, it's that actually. Control Q. I press Control S in here. Not complete successfully. Okay. What if I just run this? Enter to continue or C to cancel. You can't do up in here. I can't even do arrows in here. That's annoying. I gotta check out Podman. I'm assuming Podman is maybe a little bit less janky in some of these things. GPG agent, probably not installed. Assume we need another apt install. Type bash. Yeah. Agent. We will need the -y. Let me also print this one, but not do the next one, so that we can hopefully check in the logs if we see that print, and that would tell us that that one completed successfully. I think, at least, maybe. All right, so I can build while the old container is running, but I can't run a new container. Can't build a new container unless I get rid of the old one. But it's because I'm choosing the name for it. If I were not choosing the name, or if I were changing the name, then I'd be able to. But I also don't just want to be leaving one container per iteration running in the background, and I don't even really want to be filling up this list here of containers one per. So I kind of like deleting before I run rather than changing the name or something. Can use that number to connect to the container. Oh, the hash thing there. Yeah, I'll have to figure that out, because I bet that will give me tab completion as well. Yeah, that looks like it succeeded. I don't know exactly how to... I don't know how to check that. 1.2, okay, 1.2.43.2. That's like instant when I delete it from there. 1.2.43. So if we take all of those back off, we build it one more time, we run it one more time, do we get 1.2.43 or not? We check the same thing. No, 34. Okay, so that worked. That proves the PPA worked. Nice. Yeah, the delete from here is way faster. I don't know why. Just run bash there. Just run bash there. I'm not sure. Bash here? Number is the identifier. The last layer of the container, it's the hash. And build finishes, it prints a number. You can use that number to connect. Just run bash. apt key is also being deprecated in Ubuntu. apt key? Apt key. Is that the same as apt add repository? All right, now we can try all of these. Delete it. Delete from the UI is not purging the cache layers from the file system. I gotcha. So I should do another RM again or something probably. But it's weird, like the stop CLI command takes a bunch of time. I guess it's doing that purging during that time though. Just run bash inside the container. I mean, I think we're in bash in the container. Are we not? When I click on exec up there? Or do you mean in here with the connect somehow? Like somehow I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. I can use this, and there's a command I could run here that would make it so that this terminal was basically this one. Nice. Git -- version. Nice. 2.43.2. I was wrong about the 1, but it was 43. Not bash, but shell. Yeah. sh instead of bash show. Let me do the stop again. See if that'll do any cleanup for us. I'm telling the Docker run it to use bash. Okay. In that GUI terminal, you're not using bash but shell. All right. I think I'm going to stop there. We're part of the way there. Maybe peek ahead. What's next? So we got a bunch of stuff installed. We'll go with current versions. I won't worry about old versions, I think. So is this like SAMD51? Yeah. I think this is like SAMD51. I think there is, but I've never done it before. So while it might be easy to build, I don't think it will be easy for me to build because I've never done it before and I won't know how to troubleshoot it. Whereas I have done the builds for the microcontrollers, which may be more complex, but also are just more familiar because I've done them. Any work you do using the new base will make the other Docker build so much faster as you have the image on the disk. You have a container that you can name and use to explore building. Yeah. Work you do using the new base. Link below points to a general downloads page. Choose the ARM None EABI version and select the correct architecture. Choose the ARM None EABI. That's basically the top ones here, and then we would want, well, that's Windows, I guess, W64. ARM? No, ARM is what we're building. 86. I have no idea which one of these you're supposed to get. Choose the ARM None EABI and select the correct architecture for your development computer, such as x64 Linux. And that looks promising. I could say 86 and 64. But, oh yeah. None EABI. I don't know if I ever installed the new one. I'm pretty sure this might be the one I have. I don't think I've ever installed this one. I don't know how to check it either, though. Maybe this. This is on my local computer, though, not in the Docker, obviously. Yeah, that's showing the 10/20/20. Of course, this should probably be updated as well, right? Because that's actually the current one. Anyway, I didn't realize that changed with version 9. You're going to trade off for large size image, but have all the targets available. Having a svelte image size would only have a single target. This is going into CI/CD. Having a smaller single target containers would result in faster step times. I gotcha. Yeah, that'd be nice eventually. Alternative would be to install. Let me catch up. Let's see. Isn't there a CircuitPython? Let's see. I'm wondering if it would make sense to use this image as a base for other architectures. I'm not sure what you mean. Alternative would be to install compilers for all of the... Oh, like make one Docker file for SAMD51 and then a different Docker file for Raspberry Pi and then a different Docker file for Espressif type thing? Or the other alternative would be install all those things in one. Yeah, I think I would go to the separate ones. I would lean towards the separate ones. So I should probably change this to say like... Ubuntu SAMD51 maybe. All right, I'm gonna head out for now. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you for all the help in the Discord, back on the request stuff and with this while I fumble my way through Docker. I definitely appreciate it. Hope everyone has a good rest of your day and a good weekend and all that stuff. I will be back next week at the usual time. See you then.